Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Abraham Lincoln. My friends, we see stocks and bonds are up for the day. Gold and Bitcoin down. Our biggest downer for the day is Bitcoin. Our biggest up for the day is the NASDAQ 100. Let's start first with the S&P 500 like we almost always do. Look at those stair steps just moving right up. We can see the high for the week so far is 433.88. Last week it was 431.99. So things continue to move in the right direction. Just keeps on keeping on. It's that little train that just keeps going. We can see prices above the weekly trend line on both the 2-day and the half-day, moving in the right direction. We had seen week or so ago how things had popped up and leveled off, but then they just started chugging up again, didn't they? Again, isn't it beautiful to follow this weekly chart? People say, what about short chart trading? I don't do it. Why? It's too much trouble and there's not enough in it. I want you to practice these things to prove them to yourselves. If you would have jumped in a week after this first green spinning top, if you would have gotten in at the worst time of the week, 409.70, we see up to 433.88. So from 409.70 to 433.88. Is that not a decent gain from the end of March up until now? Absolutely beautiful. Just following the green, my friends. Let's move on to the Qs. Q's up even more. Jumping in spot, you could have jumped in here. It would have been a hard call to make, but clearly when things jumped up that next week, if you'd gotten in at the high, 315.25, the high so far this week, 360.59, from 315 to 360. Is that not decent? It absolutely is. Now we're going to reset based upon, we're going to update this a little bit. I'm going to try to leave it there. We're not quite capturing last week's up move. Maybe we should, because it did sort of reset, not at the high point that it was moving up, the higher angle it was moving up. But as we look at where things are, again, we can see where we've had things pop up, slide sideways down a little bit, and then pop back up. But if you'll look, that weekly chart never got us out. It always stayed in the green in the end, at the end as the weeks wrapped up. This was the one that, of course, gave us the closest call here. You can see if I tag it up here, it actually reflects on the lower charts. And you can see there April the 24th on the 2-day chart right here. You can see where, things had been sliding along and moving down. And then, of course, that was Monday, Tuesday of that week. Rest of the week, things tended to start moving up. And, of course, since then, leveled out again a little bit and then shot up. Leveled out a little bit over the last 2 weeks, but continued to push up more. And, of course, this week, taking off again. Prices above the weekly trend line on the half day quite nicely and on the 2-day. And you can see the reason we're not doing short chart trades here is because they're so highly inaccurate. They're only for a very short period of time. The big money in your practice trade is, of course, on charts that move and on the bigger charts. Let's leave stocks, go to bonds. Bonds up a little bit for the day. Let's zoom in on this a little bit so we can see a little better. You can see where we bounced off. We've done that a few times off what has been a ceiling for bonds. That happened back on March the 3rd. Things started moving over and they've been really settling out here at this, what could be a bottom for bonds. You've seen it around here before. Check it out right there. That's a little bit lower, but right here is about where we've seen, bonds stick down to. This is the lowest low that we've had lately. And again, we'll watch and see. Bonds may be just digesting these losses and getting ready to move down again, up a little bit for the day, Not making any hard calls here yet, but you can see where the 2-day trend line has been penetrated now, going on 5 days. And you can see where the half day's gone down, popped back up, and now is just sort of leveling out. It's just really mostly flat for the day. Like we said, down just 0.3%, but we are paying close attention to where, up 0.3%. So we're paying close attention to where this is going for us. We'll keep an eye on it as the week progresses. Where are we on gold? Gold was just barely down, 0.09%. So it was down more in the morning and then back, pulling up a little in the afternoon, still down for the day, but almost flat, 0.09%. So not even 0.9%, 0.09%. So as we look at where things are, we can see the 2-day chart is pretty much sliding sideways, starting this week off with a red spinning top. We will pay close attention to that and see where that leads us as this week moves along. You can see the angle of down movement is flattening. So we will keep an eye on that. Right now, 2 days below it, half days below it, as I redrew it there just for you on the fly. Let's also update Bitcoin as best we can. It looks like we can pretty much do that. Where we see Bitcoin right now, down 2.16%. I've told you guys over the last few weeks we want to see it continue to move down. We want our charts to reset. Those of you who listened to Charting Cryptos and Commodities, if you haven't, go to chartingwealth.com. You can find it at the website. I release it on Fridays to the general public. We release it earlier in the week to our Patreon members, but we added commodities, of course, a while back, and recently we've added some currencies there too. Euro, Swiss franc, British pound, Canadian dollar, Australian dollar. So again, interesting things for you to look at. But when it comes to Bitcoin, I've just been talking about how we want to see these charts reset so we can start getting some decent movements. I want it to look more like the S&P 500, where it goes from green to red to green to red. Just a nice moving chart that you can follow. Bitcoin over the last many months has just sort of been herky-jerky, and it's like throwing darts at a dartboard. That is not the way that we want to buy and sell things in our practice trades. Why? Because it's more like gambling. It's not charting. It is not what we want to do. We need to have charts at work. That's what we're hoping to see reestablish. That is where we are, folks, as we end on this Monday. Going to Tuesday, hope you stay with us each and every day, 10 to 15 minutes. That is all we ask. And remember, discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. What you want most, I hope, is to learn how to chart and trade. And that takes practice, 10 to 15 minutes each and every day. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.